When you start playing piano in your 40s, and if you don't have a piano, you might wonder, which piano should I get? So there are three things you should ask yourself before deciding what kind of digital piano to get. And it's not about how many keys should you get or what kind of weighted keys should you get. Those are options. But it's more about how you want to play and what you want to play with that piano. But before I talk about those three questions, I'm going to talk about the pros and cons of getting a real piano versus the digital piano. The problem about the real piano is that it needs constant tuning. Maybe not monthly, but eventually it gets out of tune. So if you haven't played that piano in the living room for the longest time, chances are that you need to first tune before you start practicing. I also noticed that real piano has a very heavy touch, meaning when you press the key, it's very strenuous on your hand. And that could be bad when you're starting to play again after 40. A lot of people have muscle problem, tendonitis, arthritis. I also had problem with my joints. So you don't want that. So when you start playing piano again in your 40s, I highly recommend getting a digital piano. The pros of digital piano these days is that you can practice at night. With a real piano, you have to be aware of what time to practice because you cannot really change the volume. But with a digital piano, you can put the headphone, connect the headphone, and you can just practice any time of the day. And frankly, it doesn't get out of tune. I also say this because I have a friend who started playing classical piano on the real piano after he was in his 40s, and eventually he got the carpal tunnel or the tendonitis, and he cannot play anymore. So what's the point of learning how to play and won't be able to play for a long time? So that's another point of avoiding real piano and getting digital piano. Now, here are three questions you should ask before getting a digital piano. What kind of pieces do you want to play? Is it classical? Is it jazz? Is that popular tunes? The second question is, do I have any physical constraint? Are my fingers strong? Have I played piano before? And the third question is, how much budget do I have? How much do I want to spend on this new piano? So the first question, what kind of pieces do I want to play? If you're playing, let's say, popular tunes, jazz tunes, even salsa that I play, you don't use the whole 88 keys. You barely use 88 keys, which is the same size as the real piano. So you may be able to get by with 76 keys or 61 keys. But if you're playing classical pieces, or if you want to learn classical pieces that use whole range of keys, you might want to consider getting 88 keys. Now the second question is, what kind of physical constraints do I have? Do I feel comfortable playing? It's best if you go to the store and actually try it out and see that feel of the keys. But here's the thing, it depends on what kind of music you play too. For example, I play salsa piano, which requires a lot of octaves and a lot of strings and constant playing. Meanwhile, jazz piano, maybe you don't have to constantly move. Maybe you can just play chords. So you have to think of the objective and also your physical strength. How much can your hands handle? So if you are not sure how much strength you have in your hands, or if you have never played piano before, I would get something like non-weighted or semi-weighted keys, which have a touch of like a keyboard that has no bouncing feel and it's not heavy to push. But then if you have played piano before and you're pretty confident that you have no problem maneuvering the keys with this heavy key, almost like a piano with a hammer action, then you might consider fully weighted keys. But it depends, again, on your hand strength. Now, let me talk about the difference between non and semi-weighted keys. And it's very confusing, and it also confused me too, because I was thinking non-weighted keys have no weight, semi-weighted has some weight, and fully weighted has full weight of the keys, but that's not the case. Non-weighted and semi-weighted keys both feels the same, just like the kid's keyboard. It's like plasticky, like a keyboard. The difference between non-weighted and the semi-weighted is that semi-weighted ones, the sound changes when you press. So the harder you hit, the louder the sound becomes. With non-weighted keys, no matter how much harder you press, it produces the same volume. So that's the difference between non and semi-weighted keys. It's not actually weighted as the name suggests. So it's kind of confusing. Non-weighted or semi-weighted, the key bounces right back. Like there's no spring in it, almost. In contrast, fully weighted keys pretty much feel like the real piano, although it's a little bit still lighter than the real piano. So it has this hammer action that they say, it bounces back a little bit delayed. And if you're used to playing piano, that bouncy feel kind of like helps you like have the touch. I don't know how to explain it. So if you're so used to playing piano in the past, maybe you might want to get the fully weighted keys. But again, depends on your hand strength. Now, the third question you should ask is how much budget do you have? Or how much do you want to spend on this new digital piano? Now, let me just tell you that non-weighted and then semi-weighted ones are a lot cheaper than the fully weighted hammer action keyboard. I mean, digital piano. Non-weighted and semi-weighted one, it starts from about $200 and up. Of course, the quality differs significantly, but it can be purchased with like $300. But if you were to get a semi-decent digital piano that's fully weighted, it could start from like 600 or up. There's some differences between the price. So you have to consider like how much do I want to spend? How serious am I to start playing again? Maybe you're totally okay with a semi or non-weighted piano. Also, don't think semi-weighted or non-weighted ones are less than the fully weighted piano. I know a lot of pros use non-weighted or semi-weighted. My piano teacher uses his semi-weighted Yamaha keyboard. It's a Yamaha NP32 that he plays at his gigs. He chooses that because he has some muscle problems, but he does gigs no problem. He's a jazz musician, by the way. So it totally depends. What is your objective? How much is your strength? And what is your budget? Now you may be wondering, what kind of digital piano do I play? So first I started with the Casio that was semi-weighted. I played it fine until one day at a gig I had to play piano a little bit, and the piano that was there was fully weighted and I could not play at all because my fingers were so weak because they got used to playing semi-weighted keyboard. So I decided to get a fully weighted fully weighted digital piano. Frankly, because I played piano way in the past, like 30 years ago, I remember how it feels and I felt comfortable. So I bought Yamaha P125. As far as the brand goes, I think any brand is fine as long as the quality is good, the sound is good, right? But of course, I'm Japanese and I learned piano in Japan. So I have tendency towards getting a Japanese digital piano, which is like Yamaha and Casio. And Yamaha and Casio make really great products, in my opinion, and also Roland. I haven't really played Roland because they tend to be higher in price, but Roland is also a Japanese brand, just so you know. And I played Yamaha digital piano for a while. But then, again, when I played salsa and then playing the octave, I can barely play the octave. And with that and with the pressure, my hands started to hurt so much because I had to play 2-3 hours at a time. And I said, maybe I should switch back to semi-weighted keys or non-weighted keys. Before that, I went to try at the store and it didn't feel right this time because I played for a year the weighted ones. So what I decided to do is to try out a different brand. So here I have Casio Previa PX160. I don't think they make this anymore, but I am borrowing this from a pro jazz piano player. This one, when I tried side by side with Yamaha, Casio felt a little bit lighter with touch, in my opinion. So I like that little bit lighter touch, even though when I press, I don't know if you can hear, but this I can hear a lot of this key sound. I feel like there's more of a key pressing sound compared to Yamaha, but the touch is lighter. So that's what I'm trying out for now. I haven't tried this at my gigs, so I don't know how I can handle, but we'll see if this is good or I'm going back to Yamaha. But I have a feeling maybe this is a good keyboard for me. So the pro jazz piano player that I'm talking about, he is using my Yamaha now, Yamaha P125. Frankly, this and the Yamaha both cost about $700. It's not that expensive considering the pros to play at their gigs. And he even played at the fancy places with these keyboards. And I was like, don't you have to use something more expensive? And he's like, well, this does the job. So this can be used by a pro, no problem. It's that kind of quality, which is great. It's amazing what they can do with this kind of piano, but this is a decent quality, and what he's saying, with his skills, he can make use of this. Of course, when he records, then he plays something a lot better sounding, which is called like Sound Logic piano, which has an output through electrical and can produce definitely better sound. Finally, I want to discuss about the importance of the bench and the piano stand. When you get a piano, just don't get the digital piano on its own if you want to practice seriously. You have to get the stand and the bench. The reason why I say this is because I've almost hurt myself. You can get whatever, the bench or the stand. The important thing is, can you maintain your posture when playing? So one of the problem I had was that because I'm short, when I sit at the regular bench and whenever I have this stand, piano is usually like so high for me. My hands are a little bit above my elbows, which is not good. And I was constantly straining my hand. Ideally, your hands are below your elbow a little bit, like here, so it doesn't strain. So the rule of thumb is to have the key up to your belly button. So I highly recommend you go to the music store, sit and adjust and see if your bench can be adjusted to the height where you feel comfortable. Of course, your feet must be touching the ground too. This is very important, which I think a lot of people don't even realize how important this is, not to strain your body. But we have to think about that when we're practicing after we're 40s, right? So that's very important to maintain a nice posture. So think about the stand. Well, stand can be anything, but the bench, it has to be adjustable. The one I bought before wasn't adjustable, and being as short as I am, it couldn't be higher. That was my problem. So think about that. Purchase digital keyboard, stand, and the bench. So that's gonna add up to your budget. I understand. Consider these things and make your purchase. If you're interested, I'm gonna put the link down below in my description section so that you can see what kind of piano, digital piano I use and what is recommended. So in summary, if you want to enjoy playing piano again in your 40s, don't strain your body. Think of your body first. And it's not like you're becoming a pro and you're going to start competing. Well, if you want to do that, that's fine, but this channel is not about that. If you want to do that, you have to go to some other channel. If you want to enjoy playing for a long time, think of your body. What's best for your body? And that is going to be the right piano for you, not the right piano as far as the competition goes. Okay, so that's it for today, and I'll see you in the next video.